welcome as this historic week for world peace and unity comes to an end. The new Germany announces its capital will be Berlin as from October the 14th, Warsaw by Christmas and Leningrad by 1992. In the Gulf, Saddam Hussein denies Western rumours that there's a new love in his life. Meanwhile, in Britain, the Green Party reveals an innovative new scheme to reduce the number of cars on Britain's roads. As usual, we have four of the finest minds within a 10-yard radius. On my right, our regular team captain, editor of Private Eye and star of Stage, Screen and the Royal Courts of Justice, Ian Hislop. And with him, writer, performer, producer, director, there's no one this woman won't sleep with to further her career, Jan Ravens. And to my left, our other team captain, the only alternative comedian to be named after a suburban railway station, Paul Merton. And with Paul, one of the most talented and controversial investigative reporters the BBC has ever fired, Martin Young. Like the panellists, the rules are very simple. 2 points for getting it right, 1 point for getting it wrong, but being fairly amusing in the process, and no points for hiding under the desk and pretending you're not here. So, being sticklers for old values, we're going to start off with round one, in which we show you some bits of footage featuring people who've made the news this week. Ian and Jan, who are these people, and why are they so happy?
Are they the security guards at Andy and Fergie's housewarming party? No.
This is someone forgetting the old Germany, doing brilliantly. An organ grinder. It's the Labour Party conference again, isn't it?
You were virtually right. Yes, the good burghers of Berlin it was.
Yes.
And they're celebrating, obviously, the unification of the two Germanys, naturally
Obviously.
enough.
That went without
You were going to
saying.
say that, weren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you can have 2 points. I'm feeling generous at the moment. The mayor of West Berlin, Herr Walter Momper, said it was a happy day for all Germany, or ein Jubend für alle Länder, Wunderferien im Vaterland, Gefährte über alle Mann bedeckt, Tag for all Germany. Paul and Martin, where is this empty hall, and what was it full of this week?
Oh, bullshit, I should think.
Sure. Glad you said that.
No wonder you got fired by the BBC.
It's about to get fired by them again.
It's the CNA Salesman's Conference, isn't it? Maternity wear for the... It's Blackpool. It's the Labour Party conference hall.
And the shot showed all the delegates who supported Neil Kinnock this week over defence.
Yes, yes, there's a touch
bit
of
of satire
in there.
Oh,
Yes.
I'm afraid.
Yes, absolutely right. Winter Gardens in Blackpool it was, where the Labour Party conference took place, and the politicians, of course, made speeches in front of those 5 giant photographs apparently taken from the knitwear section of Freeman's catalogue. Ian and Jan, time now for a rather ambiguous passport photograph. Who is it and why?
It's one of the Labour front bench who's had one of these beauty makeovers. Gerald Kaufman, possibly. No, just
You're clutching at straws.
No, that's actually very near the truth, because that is a Labour delegate who was told that they needed more women on the front bench, and then who's done the decent thing and had an operation. And from now on, he's going to be talking about home affairs.
It's that Caroline person that couldn't get made a woman, couldn't get recognised properly as a woman, that had the sex change and went to Amsterdam to the European Court of whatnot.
This
And
is
she
what
was
I want to do.
in a Bond film.
She was a Bond girl.
She was even worse than Roger Moore.
It's incredible. You've got it absolutely right. Your third attempt. It was Caroline Cossey, yes, who was denied the right by judges to change her sex on her birth certificate to female. And this was decreed by 3 men wearing tights and garters, long flowing robes and shoulder-length sleeves. Crazy world. And finally in this round, Paul and Martin, who are this lot and what were they doing on everyone's property?
Well, I think they're obviously lost. Perhaps it's the Liberal Democrats searching for a logo, is it?
The Society for the Right to Wear a Beard in a Built-Up Area.
That is the Liberal Democrats, isn't it?
Yes, well, you never point for that, but it's not actually the right answer.
Oh, you want the right answer?
Well, that would be ideal, yes, but don't hurry yourself.
There was a sign saying the Ramblers, and we rather think that they might have been the Ramblers.
It's uncanny. It's extraordinary. There's nothing that gets past
It's that
you.
kind of keen eye for investigative journalism that's made Private Eye the magazine it is today.
Is the Ramblers beating the balance?
Yes.
It is a Ramblers Association, yes. I'm prepared to give Ian a point for reading the word Ramblers. They held a Forbidden Britain Day, a mass trespass on private property to protest about how the countryside has been spoilt by private landowners. Although whether the countryside is actually enhanced by the sight of 500 bearded liberals in bright orange cazals and open-toed walking boots singing old Ralph McTell numbers is beyond me. Still, at the end of the first round, Ian and Jan have an assertive 5, and Paul and Martin have a meagre 4.
Oh, good. A slow start, really.
Well, time now to give our guests their homework to be handed in at the end of the programme. Paul and Martin, this is yours. And Ian and Jan, this is yours. And between now and the end of the programme, you have to come up with a witty and amusing caption or a note from your mother. Meanwhile, we're going to ask you to concentrate on 4 headlines from this week's tabloids and attempt to explain them, one each. Paul, a bit of a teaser for you. Come up to my place and see my sharks.
This was the man who has a couple of pet sharks in his bedsit, or he's a sort of council flat. Mm-hmm. He keeps they're sort of 12-foot hammerhead sharks. He keeps them in a teapot or something, and it makes the tea taste funny and eat all the biscuits.
Yes, it's Sebastian Grant, his name is. He keeps 2 lemon sharks in his flat. Apparently they're the world's 4th most dangerous shark. Although how they measure how dangerous they are must be a rather long and messy process. But, Martin, police guards pay rent to King is yours.
I think it's Tom King.
Yes.
And I think that he's got...
So when you say it like that, it's like a character in Lord of the Rings, Tom King.
That's right.
Tom King danced across the hills. It was a bright and wonderful morning.
Yes.
It's Tom King from Middle-earth, you're quite right. And he's surrounded by half of the Metropolitan Constabulary at any given moment, and they have to sort of kip down in his place, and he's charging them rent.
You're absolutely right, yes.
It's a bit mean, isn't it?
He's charging them £40 a week rent to rent the cottage in his grounds. So if the cottage is in his grounds, I hope he's paying poll tax for them. There you are. Not funny, but well satirical. Jan, zapped by your zip. What's this all about?
This Swedish man who has invented some sort of electronic device that bleeps if you leave your flies open.
It's incredible, but it's true.
Is that the right answer?
It is the right
That's
answer.
unbelievable, isn't it?
It is. You can tell I've been reading the quality newspaper this week, Ian.
Absolutely. Yes. Swedish engineer Daniel Steinberg has invented a battery-operated trouser zip, which, when left undone, as you say, delivers an electric shock to the groin area. Finally, Ian, your cryptic clue is writer's mother libelled by BBC. What's all this about?
I don't know why I get the libel question.
I
know very little about it. This one is Mrs. Whitehouse. And amazingly, she hasn't sued anyone. She's been sued herself by Dennis Potter. Not for saying that Black Eyes was absolutely abysmal. That's comment. It's not libel.
You're just covering yourself here, aren't you?
I'm just filling in the rules. No, she actually said that Dennis Potter had been so traumatised by seeing his mother having adulterous sexual intercourse with someone else that he'd immediately developed an unpleasant skin disease. And this is the woman who complains about other people being offensive on television.
You're absolutely right.
Sorry,
Ian, what can I say
hysterical.
other than be quiet? You're absolutely right. You've got your 2 points. What more do you want? Yes, it was Mary Whitehouse, and it is astonishing, I must say, that when she says something outrageous and sexually graphic like that, I mean, who do you report it to? No one left, really, is there? Which brings us finally to the end of that round, mercifully. And Ian and Jan have an enviable 9, and Paul and Martin have a puny 8. Here's your clues, which relate to a major story of the week. Their job, should they choose to accept it, is to identify which story. Ian and Jan, does this mean anything to you at all?
Heidi, hi!
Oh, no. It can't be about this poor woman that got done for shoplifting that used to be in Heidi High, can it?
No, it can't.
No, that's Mary Whitehouse territory.
Thank goodness.
Oh, look.
Oh, no, it's these...
Oh, goodness.
It's the Romanian people that came to stay at Pontins for a holiday.
Oh, yes,
and
good.
then decided that, please, could they stay? They applied for the Duda, asylum.
Good. You found the word, anyway.
They,
It is an asylum.
But then they changed their mind when they watched Jeremy Beadle. And said, can we go home again? Ceausescu's great.
Well, you can have 2 points, because you virtually got it. Yes, it's about the 76 Romanians who, shortly after arriving at Pontins in Somerset, decided to defect. In fact, where Jeremy Beadle came in was that hoteliers on whom these 76 were billeted thought that it was a Jeremy Beadle prank. Until they realised that there wasn't anything remotely funny going on, and then they knew it was a Jeremy Beadle. Paul and Martin, here's your bundle of confusion.
Well, it's the Soviet Parliament, isn't it? Obvious.
Defence cuts hit Gulf troops.
There's Mikhail Gorbachev.
Yes. Nice bit of tapestry there.
Good.
That's a good word, tapestry. I like that. Oh, look, there's Derek Hatton making an appearance at the Labour Party conference.
Oh, look, there's Jeremy Beadle.
Good. Now, put all those together, and what do you got?
I'd have no idea. No, I think it's... there was an expert looked at the Bayeux tapestry and said it can't possibly, because it's meant to be dated from the 11th century or something, and he said it couldn't be because one of the soldiers depicted on the tapestry is quite clearly eating a kebab.
There was that.
And there's another one who's throwing up outside an off licence. And a third one's got an 18 to 30 club T-shirt. As they go into battle, there's a little caption that says, here we go, here we go.
Yes, it was Robert Chensono, an expert in embroidery, in fact, who claimed that the Bayeux tapestry is a forgery due to its quick-draw cartoon style, hence Rolf Harris. Also, the kebabs depicted in it were not introduced, as you mentioned, until 1722. Although I'm sure the last kebab I had was slightly older than that, in fact. Now the moment you've all been praying for, yes, it's our mini headlines round, these being the little subtitles used to break up tabloid stories like this. There you are. We're going to give each team a set of mini headlines from a particular story. They either have to identify which story they came from or concoct a better one. It's so simple, a child of 3 and most disc jockeys could understand it. So, Ian and Jan, which story are these from? What a genius. Stout worker.
Maxwell stories again.
And brought to book.
He doesn't read them.
Genius and Stout are giving me some clues, Angus.
Good.
They are, because Genius is a sort of advertising ploy for a certain variety of stout.
Ah.
Yes?
Crook stout, is it
And
called?
Yes.
Something like that.
the Guinness affair, that man, one of them that got done in the Guinness bid for the takeover where they all were a bit...
Yeah, I think the answer you're
isn't it
groping towards in your usual fumbling manner is Gerald Ronson, Jan.
Oh, it's
isn't it?
Gerald Ronson,
Yes.
you said he can't afford to pay his fine of
That's
£5
right.
million, poor lamb.
You'd think he'd learn.
He only has £10.7 million. That's apparently it. No, when
His
I was
head
at
for
school-
figures isn't too good. He's done it again.
Well, 2 points to you. Very good. Gerald Ronson, who's currently swabbing down tables and washing dishes in Ford prison canteen, for which he's paid £3.20 a week, we gather. That's before tax. After tax, £3.65. Got a very good accountant. Paul and Martin, criminally obvious set of headlines for you. Well, obviously criminal, anyway. Rip-off, swipe, fixed.
Could this be the Office of Unfair Trading, which is run by Sir Gordon Borry, who said that we weren't being ripped off or having our money swiped or having petrol prices fixed?
Yep.
And he said it's all perfectly all right and they're entitled to charge us 10 times as much.
It's very interesting that Gerald Ronson's company, Heron, is in petrol. And so obviously he can't possibly pay. I mean, just look how badly the oil companies are doing.
Well, a point for satire, maybe. No, maybe not. 2 points to you, anyway, Paul and Martin. A look at the scoreboard tells us the score, obviously. And also that Ian and Jan have a relentless 13 and Paul and Martin an underrated 12. Well, now it's time for our archive round. We show each team a celebrated moment in the history of news gathering, but stop it at a vital moment. They have to tell us what happened next. Ian and Jan, here's your bit.
In fact, I think Tony without Dennis is like Torville without Dean.
Now, what happened next?
Well, this is Chesterfield. I can read that.
You see?
I'm not getting
That's
any
how he
points
got
for that.
Ramblers, you know.
This is a by-election. I think all that happens is that Tony Benn won the seat.
I wish I could
Does
say
Dennis
yes,
Healy
but
fall off the
unfortunately...
podium?
Well, that's not a million miles away. I
Or
have to
did they
Just an
win?
educated guess.
Or did Tony Benn and Dennis Healy win the World Skating Championships? Is that the answer?
It's a good answer, but I'll give you a point for that. But let's just see what in fact happened.
In fact, I think Tony without Dennis is like Torville without Dean.
Yes, I'm afraid the set fell down. That was the answer. Paul and Martin, you have to look at this man, I'm afraid.
I started thinking as I was coming over here, why is it that Joe Biden is the first in his family ever to go to a university?
What happened next? Who is he and what happened next?
I've got no idea who
I don't
he
know
is.
who he is.
I'm wondering if I know who Joe Biden is. I think he's a Democratic senator in the States or something like that.
Well,
This is amazing. I might be able to get this without any verbal clues
do you
written
want
on
to
it.
leap in here, Ian?
This is Senator Joe Biden.
Good, well spotted.
that's the one I was referring to.
Yes, he has this strange habit of actually talking about himself in the third person, but yes.
And he said, why is it that Senator Joe Biden is the first Biden in 300 years or in hundreds of generations to go to university? Why is it that I'm the first Senator Joe Biden to stand on this platform? And then Neil Kinnock made a speech saying, hey, why is it I'm the first Neil Kinnock that's ever been to university? And people, for some unknown reason, said, plagiarist, you've nicked the lot.
But who copied from who?
Biden copied from Kinnock. I remember that now.
Absolutely right.
Really? Oh, well,
Yes.
then I was wrong again.
Oh, good!
Well, you can have 1 point each, I think, for that. Let's just have a look.
I started thinking as I was coming over here, why is it that Joe Biden is the first in his family ever to go to a university?
Why am I the first Kinnock in 1,000 generations to be able to get to university?
My ancestors who worked in the coal mines in northeast Pennsylvania don't come up after 12 hours and play football for 4 hours?
Those people who could work 8 hours underground and then come up and play football.
It's not because they weren't as smart. It's not because they didn't work as hard. It's because they didn't have a platform upon which to stand.
It was because there was no platform.
Yes, Neil Kinnock there winning the Donald Sinden Award for overaction. Yes, Joe Biden lifting one of Kinnock's speeches. Of course, what happened next for him was that his career came to nothing. Nobody voted for him and he never achieved high office. So in that sense, Neil Kinnock was quite a good role model for him. So a look at the score. Good Lord. Well, it's time now for our Odd One Out round, in which we show each of you 4 celebrities, 3 of which share some dark secret. What you have to do is find the odd one out. Paul, here's your glamorous collection. Cher, Maria Whittaker, Lady Geldof, and George Schultz.
They all take a double D cup.
Sadly not. I'll give you a point for entertaining us.
Is Maria Whittaker the only one that hasn't had sort of hair surgery?
George Schultz hasn't had hair surgery. Look at him.
Yes, he might have done. He might have
Is
had a...
Maria
money
Whittaker
back.
the only one who's appeared topless in the public organs of the press? If you'll pardon the expression.
I think the closest is probably Jan. I'll tell you the answer. It's actually that Maria Whittaker is the only one who doesn't have a tattoo.
How do you know?
Oh, what nonsense.
And before you ask, it's on his buttock. And it's a tiger.
It looks from here like it's on his nose, actually. It's strawberry.
Right, Martin, 4 great British eccentrics for you. Robin Day. Titch and Quackers.
Yes.
Oh no, Lord Young.
Lord Young.
Always get those confused.
Oban War.
Oban War and Cynthia Payne.
Well, I think that 3 of them were all clients of the 4th. And I mean, obviously, that Lord Young, Cynthia Payne and Oban War had television training from Robin Day.
I'm very glad you explained exactly what you meant.
No, I actually think
that
I know that Sir Robin Day stood for Parliament in 1951.
Good.
Cynthia Payne did.
Yes, Cynthia Payne did. Was it Miss Whiplash or the Corrective Party? Or...
Something like that,
Yes,
yeah.
something very good.
No,
Got lots of votes.
you're onto a good one here.
And
yes.
Bron War, I believe, stood for Parliament. And Lord Young, although he's a very celebrated politician, never stood for Parliament.
Very good indeed. 2 points.
Indeed.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Jan, here's your gallery of heartthrobs. Dan Quayle, Muhammad Ali, Bonnie Langford, Oliver North.
They've all had their lives made into a mini-series on the telly, apart from
all of them.
Obviously.
Is there a very tasteless brain damage link here?
Just before you go any further...
Obviously not.
Thankfully not. The odd one out of... Paul?
Muhammad Ali didn't go to Vietnam, neither did Dan Quayle. Bonnie Langford did. And I think it's Oliver North is the only one that served in Vietnam.
Very good indeed. Absolutely right.
Oh,
2
well,
points.
Amazing.
Yes, you are right. Ali went to jail, of course. Dan Quayle was conveniently sent to a Swiss finishing school. Obviously never finished. And as for dropping Bonnie Langford on Hanoi, even the Americans wouldn't be that barbaric. Good idea, as it might seem. And finally, Ian, here are your grim visages. Nicholas Ridley.
Oh, dear. Oh.
Lord Denning, Queen
God bless
Mother,
her.
and Paul Gascoigne.
The link is that Nicholas Ridley made some very stupid remarks in The Spectator, which were printed. Lord Denning made some amazingly stupid remarks in The Spectator. He then sued The Spectator for them printing his very stupid remarks, which was quite interesting. The Queen Mother's table talk, she said things like, "Good evening, Mr. Wilson," to the journalist. That was revealed. And Paul Gascoigne is going to be in next week's Spectator saying, "I hate the Germans. I think they should be strung up with the Guildford Four."
Well, you're sort of.
No, he's
nowhere
never
near.
been in The Spectator. They don't know who Gaza is.
Yeah, absolutely right. Gaza is the odd one out. All of them except Gaza were publicly embarrassed by articles in The Spectator magazine, whereas Gaza has managed to publicly embarrass himself in every other magazine. Which means the score is now, well, Paul and Martin have a majestic 19, and Ian and Jan have a trifling 17.
Oh, no.
And so, with the game almost excitingly poised, we come to our final missing words round. It's a quick-fire round in which each team is shown some headlines of the week, but with a word or two missing. The teams have to identify the missing words or provide a better alternative. Seems simple enough, but just watch the mess they make of it. Right, Ian and Jan, you're currently not first, as we say, so you have the dubious honour of starting off. So, I want to see a what in the White House?
A brain?
An ensuite bathroom?
A woman?
Good, yes.
This is John F. Kennedy's famous quote.
Margaret Thatcher, yes.
I want to see a lot of women in the White House.
Cray twins turn to what?
Jelly. They must have turned to God. That's what people do.
Absolutely right. Next is
They need him.
£1 million or I dump what on London?
Bonnie Langford. So.
No, not that bad, actually.
£1 million or I dump... Oh, hundreds of unsold copies of The European on London.
It wasn't
Maxwell
Robert
issuing a
Maxwell,
threat.
No, it was, I'll tell you, Killer
Yeah,
Kebab.
before you tell him...
No, too late. And lastly, the sexy antics that left Ted Heath what?
Bandy.
Cold is correct. Although
Cold.
Bandy is funnier. Absolutely right. So 2 points to you. OK, Paul and Martin, let's have a look at yours. The What at McDonald's I Enjoy by Di.
17-year-old boy.
I'm not sure what papers you read.
With baps.
Think advertising slogans here.
Paul Merton is going to work for The Spectator.
The difference at McDonald's is correct. Next is pressure on Pope over what?
Nude basketball teams.
Can I join the other team, please?
I'm sorry, I've gotten completely.
Too simple.
Gaza.
Contraception?
No, I'm not
Abortion?
going to give it to any of you. It's celibacy is the correct answer. Next, no what for years to come, says Kinnock.
No chance of power. No lovely voice.
That's what you'd think. But
No tax cuts.
Tax cuts is correct.
Ah.
And finally, Queen's remaining what should be removed?
Teeth.
Outrageous.
I know.
Political powers.
Political power, absolutely right. Excellent.
What a
So,
disloyal comment.
while Paul is carted off to the tower, at the end of that earth-shattering climax, Paul and Martin have a triumphant 25, and Ian and Jan have a mere 23.
Well, I'm still thinking so mind my Merton.
So it only remains to check on our guests' homework at the beginning of the programme, if you can remember that far back. We asked them to come up with an amusing caption or two. Paul and Martin, let's see what you two have come up with.
Sellafield announces open-air swimming pool.
I think you're right, Paul, but I think the electricity pylons give it away. The caption actually read, "The dangers of nuclear energy being included in electricity privatisation is demonstrated by a 40-ton anchovy."
Very good indeed. Ian and Jan, let's have a look at yours.
Take 2 bottles into the shower.
Yes, work that one out at home.
I think I'd like to call this one Mind My Merkin.
Merkin? What on earth is a merkin?
A merkin is an Elizabethan word, Angus, and it means pubic wig.
Well, you learn something every day, don't you?
It is
Even if you'd
BBC
rather
Two, it's an
not know.
educational programme.
Angus, why is she auditioning for Call My Bluff?
No one knows. Ian, do you have anything to add? Or do you just want to go home?
I think I'll probably pack it in. Right,
never
it's
mind.
the South Bank show, and that's Salman Rushdie. Saying, do you think this disguise is working, Melvin?
Well, that neatly wraps it up. Thank you to our two teams, Ian Hislop and Jan Ravens, Paul Merton and Martin Young. Just time for me to reveal the sophisticated new method that John Major used to decide today was the day to join the ERM. Good night.
Join us at the same time tomorrow.